Just when you think Africa is making appreciable progress in democratic development, the military struck in Guinea. We will beam a searchlight on the development in that country. Africa, a third world continent, is in dire need of rapid economic and industrial growth. Industrialization also comes with high level of infrastructural needs. Providing these infrastructure that will aid development leaves a lot of environmental concerns behind. A case of gaining one step and losing two. These and many more will be engaging our time on this episode of Africa Weekly. My name is Justin Bemunyana. Welcome you to Africa Weekly. Efforts are on by the African Union and the ECOWAS to prevent Guinea from going the way of Mali, where democracy has been truncated by the military. We have a package on the Guinea political crisis.
Located on the Atlantic coast, Guinea, surrounded by three of West Africa's major rivers of the Gambia, Niger, and Senegal, Guinea was a part of France until it achieved independence in 1958. The first coup in Guinea occurred after the death of its former president Lansana Conté, when a military junta took control of the country and suspended the constitution that was adopted in 1991. Alpha Condé came to power in 2010 in the country's first democratic elections since its creation. Observers say many saw his presidency as a new beginning, but opponents soon accused him of failing to improve the lives of Guineans, most of whom live in poverty, despite the country's vast mineral resources. In 2011, Condé narrowly survived an assassination attempt when gunmen surrounded his home overnight and pounded his bedroom with rockets. In 2015, he was re-elected in a vote which opponents claimed was marred by fraud. Towards the end of his second term, Condé announced that Guinea's constitutional two-term limits no longer applied and that he would seek a third term. He was re-elected, but the move sparked violence, street demonstrations, with reports indicating that dozens were killed. On the 5th of September, Alpha Condé was arrested and overthrown by the Guinean military in the 2011 Guinea coup d'etat. There were scenes of celebration on the streets of Conakry after some Guineans took to the streets to congratulate soldiers who detained President Alpha Condé following hours of heavy gunfire. After seizing state television, the mutinous soldiers led by Colonel Mamadou Doumbouya vowed to restore democracy. President Buhari, United Nations, African Union, and other world leaders have condemned the action and have called for the immediate release of President Alpha Condé.
The Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, said in a statement the representatives will assess the situation following Sunday's ouster of President Alpha Condé. ECOWAS condemned the coup and demanded Condé's unconditional release, but still silent about any possible sanctions against the coup regime or its leader Mamadi Doumbouya, a former officer in the French Foreign Legion. The 15-nation group's president, Jean-Claude Cassibrel, and Ghana's Foreign Affairs Minister, Shirley Botchwey, are leading the delegation to Conakry. Doumbouya has since moved to consolidate his support base, meeting with ambassadors from Russia, China, Turkey, France, and the United States. Meanwhile, life in the capital, Conakry, is gradually returning to normal as the only roads still manned by military checkpoints were those leading towards the Kowloon Peninsula, the capital's administrative center and the location of the presidential palace. Guinea's coup is the fourth in 13 months in West and Central Africa, previously known as a coup belt, raising concerns over return to military rule in a region that had made strides towards multi-party democracy since the 1990s. Dambuya, in an effort to sweep away any leadership associated with Condé's administration, had ordered all Guinea's police and gendarmerie commanders be replaced by their deputies.
Now, Africa is in a race to catch up with the rest of the world in terms of industrialization that can boost economy and create jobs for the people of the continent. What are the environmental costs of this effort is what the next story will show us.
Industrial revolution may have changed the way the world is perceived, but it also changed the dynamism of impacts on the planet many call home, Earth. Industrialization, though part of global development, poses great challenges of global warming, higher energy demand, industrial waste, exposure to dangerous machines, equipment, and health. This explains why in DR Congo, more than 4,500 people have fallen sick following a toxic leak from a diamond mine, killing at least 12 people. Rapid urbanization brought on by industrialization has typically led to the general deterioration of quality of life and many other problems such as crime, stress, and psychological disorders. Tree planting and regulation of human activities have been recommended as some of the ways of reducing or controlling the hazards of industrialization, while industries are advised to carry out proper procedures to purify or cleanse their waste byproducts before disposing them.
We have in the studio the chairman of the Nigerian Institution of Environmental Engineers, Abuja chapter, Linda Bitrus Elesa, to discuss more on this issue. Thank you so much, Engineer Linda Bitrus Elesa. Thank you so much for joining us on the program. Thank you for coming.
I sincerely appreciate.
So being an expert in this area, what would you say are the major environmental challenges arising from industrial and engineering activities?
You would agree with me that together or alongside industrial development and engineering practices comes environmental degradation or devastation, if not properly handled. Mark my words, if not properly handled. Okay. It is not about the industrialization or industrial activity or the engineering activity that brings about environmental devastation, but it is about how it is being managed and controlled that brings about this devastation. And it is so common for us to see around us that because of the high demand for infrastructures and other things required for industrial activities, there's high rate of deforestation, where a large chunk of portion of land is being cleared and the trees and the vegetation are being removed so that we can put up infrastructures or put up industrial complexes. And this, if not properly managed, can actually lead to soil erosion, and it can also lead to emission of more greenhouse gases because we don't have the carbon sink, which is the trees and the vegetation, to absorb all this pollution. Other than that, we also have, take a look at the oil and gas sector, especially the extraction of oil. Alongside that activity, we have a lot of other pollution that comes alongside with it, such as the aquatic pollution or due to oil spill. Other than that, we also have air pollution due to gas flaring and other activities. Then we also have in the area of probably road construction, if we do not have proper incorporation of watershed management, we see that we have a lot of gully erosion coming up as a result of improperly managed constructions or wrongful termination of drainage systems within the economy or within the construction site. Other than that, we also, when we look at maybe paper and pulp industry, we see that the waste is being released, that's toxic waste is being released into the water system. That also contaminates water, and at the end of the day, it affects the environment. What I want us to understand is that it's not just only that it affects the environmental, the human health or the living aspect of the environment, such as people, plants, and animals. But this devastation, if not properly managed, can affect also the non-living components of the environment, such as the air, the climate, water, and other aspects of the environment, such even our livelihood. And it can result to things like flooding. We have deforestation. We have even leading as much as desertification and all that. These are all environmental impacts of some of these activities, if not properly managed and if not properly controlled.
Okay, you've emphasized so much on if not properly managed or controlled, these environmental impacts. Now, talking about your efforts as well as collaborations, your efforts, I'm talking about the Nigerian Institution of Environmental Engineers. How does this institution work with relevant agents to help, mitigate these challenges you just mentioned?
We collaborate together with other agencies and federal government establishments, such as the Federal Ministry of Environment and its division, all the departments and agencies under it. We also partner with Ministry of Works and Ministry of Works, Power, and so many other agencies of government. We also work with non-governmental organizations, both locally and internationally, and we also partner with international organizations. And what we do basically is to try and control or promote the control of some of these activities in various sectors of economy, especially in industrial activities and engineering activities. We try to ensure that compliance is being adhered. There's a high rate of compliance to this, because most of these things in terms of engineering and development is being done by engineers. So these bodies take it very serious to ensure that there's compliance to environmental standards so that these issues can be mitigated. For example, not very long ago, we just concluded a meeting with the Nigerian Erosion and Watershed Management management project, new map, which is under in collaboration with Ministry of Environment and Ministry of Works, to be able to see how we can incorporate watershed management in the conceptualization, design, construction, and management of road infrastructures. Other than that, we also embark on sensitization, or what we call environmental education. We do that together with so many other agencies. We reach out to these industries and we explain to them or talk to them about the impact of their waste or what they do, their activities on the environment.
Engineer Linda Bitrus-Elesa, Chairman, Nigerian Institution of Environmental Engineers, Abuja chapter. Thank you so much for having your time with us and speaking on these environmental issues. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you. The pleasure is all mine.
Thank you. We now bring you a report from Cameroon, where artisanal gold miners are facing severe health hazards.
Artisanal and small gold mining is a common practice in the mineral-producing regions of Cameroon, like in the east. Those involved in this mineral exploitation do so for money, but could end up not enjoying their savings. The massive mercury emitted into the atmosphere in the artisanal gold mining site has a devastating effect on health.
We need to fulfill our commitment in the framework of the Minamata Convention. One of the first things we must do is to develop an action plan targeting the elimination of mercury, which has been identified as very toxic.
To remedy the situation, the Ministry of the Environment, Protection of Nature and Sustainable Development has partnered with the United Nations Organization for Industrial Development with financial assistance from the Global Environment Fund to make the mining sites mercury-free.
For the next 24 months, we'll be expecting to develop a health strategy that will be able to control mercury contamination in specific regions in the country.
A synergy of action to improve the livelihoods of miners.
Africa Weekly returns shortly with the Tidbits segment. Now to diplomatic issues. President Muhammadu Buhari of Nigeria has met with the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Saudi Arabia, where issues of mutual benefit topped the agenda.
President Muhammadu Buhari explained that with large population and deficit in critical infrastructure, Nigeria needs all the revenue she could get from oil as mainstay of the nation's economy. Saudi Arabia, he said, has been very kind to Nigeria, especially under his watch, making sacrifices in terms of reduction in oil production quotas to accommodate the country's interests a number of times. President Buhari noted that the relationship between the two countries is very strong and dates back in time, both at the personal and national levels, as explained by Foreign Affairs Minister Geoffrey Onyema.
Mr. President recalled the wonderful hospitality that was extended to him on the occasions that he has visited the kingdom, and that on his last visit he was very warmly received by His Majesty the King and the Crown Prince, and also his commitment for Nigeria to continue to strengthen the relationship between the two countries.
The Saudi Foreign Affairs Minister Faisal bin Farhan Al Saud brought greetings from Saudi monarch King Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud, saying the kingdom appreciates the relationship with Nigeria and wants it strengthened further. The two countries, he said, have good prospects both economically and politically, not just amongst the leaders, but also the people.
The Foreign Minister also congratulated Mr. President on the leadership that Mr. President is showing with OPEC, in the framework of OPEC, that Nigeria has been very responsible, and Mr. President has played an important role in getting all the OPEC members to be on the same page, which is not always the case.
During the engagement, both the President and the Minister believe that there is still a lot Nigeria and Saudi Arabia can do together.
Insurance big players across Africa assembled in Lagos, Nigeria for their annual conference, where President Muhammadu Buhari tasked them to revitalize the industry to create trust and confidence among the people of the continent.
At a time like this, when the world's health, social and economy are being challenged by the coronavirus pandemic, taking steps in combating it is critical, and this means that all hands must be on deck to end the scourge, as well as salvage the health and the economy of the nations of the world that have been seriously affected.
I want to assure you that we in Nigeria are doing everything humanly possible to ensure a coordinated approach to the pandemic and reaching out to other African leaders on possible best options to fully revive the African economy in which I strongly believe in the insurance industry has a vital role to play.
Rebuilding Africa's economy and insurance perspective is the theme of the conference, which the president describes as apt and well thought out, as it is looking at the reality of the moment, as many governments are trying to devise ingenious ways of managing the economy.
We have put in so much effort in ensuring that Nigeria diversifies its economy into all non-oil revenue sources, and the insurance sector is one of such sectors that being encouraged to develop and bring us the necessary stability, economic sustainability, revenue generation, job creation, and financial inclusiveness. I assure you that this administration has and will continue to support insurance growth in Nigeria and Africa at large.
President Muhammadu Buhari promises to follow deliberations of the conference with keen interest, and he looks forward to the outcome.
An Indian firm is investing about $50 billion in the Zambian steel industry in a move that stakeholders described as a game changer for that country.
The recently created Lupososhi district in Northern Province is among the areas that are still yearning for economic development. And the availability of iron and manganese in the district has attracted an Indian firm which wants to set up a steel processing plant.
This area is very rich in manganese and iron, so we have decided to put a steel processing plant here. So this richness has dragged us all the way from India to invest in here in this country. So initially, at this point, we want to invest around $15 million to start with. Local employment will be around 150 to 200 people. What the figure 200 I am talking about is it's a direct employment.
And the local leadership is hopeful that the steel processing plant will change the economic landscape of the district.
We want a horse and a rider partnership. We are all equal partners. We've got the resource ourselves as Lupososhi people. So Zambians must now move in. All those who've got the exploration licenses, artisanal licenses, they should come in full force and start mining their iron ore. The market is readily available in Lupososhi.
To have the developers come to our district, it's a rare opportunity as a new district to receive such an investment. You know, this investment is worth over $15 million.
And that's our package this week. And on behalf of the entire production team, I thank you for your time. My name is Justin Bemuni.